A cargo ship is on fire right now. Drones were intercepted over Kuwait this morning. And the Trump administration's official position is that the ceasefire is holding. All three of these statements are simultaneously true on Sunday, May 10th, 2026, day 71 of the Iran war. If that contradiction doesn't make sense to you, that's because it isn't supposed to. Stay with us, because what happened on Friday changes everything you think you know about where this war is heading. Drop a comment right now. Do you think the ceasefire is real, or is it already over in everything but name? On Friday night, May 8th, American F/A-18 jets fired on and disabled 2 Iranian oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. That same Friday night, Secretary of State Marco Rubio was in Rome, waiting for Iran's response to a one-page peace proposal that American officials described as the closest the two sides had been to agreement since the war began. The bombing and the diplomacy did not happen one after the other. They happened at the exact same time. American jets were disabling Iranian tankers, while American diplomats were waiting for an Iranian peace offer. And here is the question nobody in Washington has publicly answered. Who authorized those Friday strikes? Because it was not announced. It was not explained. And it happened on the precise night that Rubio said, and these are his words, "We should know something today." Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, went public with his own answer. He said, and we are quoting directly, "Every time a diplomatic solution is on the table, the U.S. opts for a reckless military adventure." Then he went further. He asked whether a spoiler is duping the President of the United States into military action every time negotiations advance. He did not name the spoiler. He pointed toward Israel. He left the question open. But think about what that framing means. The Iranian foreign minister is publicly suggesting that someone inside the American decision-making structure is deliberately destroying the diplomatic track every time it gains momentum. If you find that credible, or if you think it is deflection, tell us in the comments. We read every single one, and the sharpest analysis gets featured. Now add this layer. The United Arab Emirates reported Iranian missile and drone attacks on Friday. Kuwait's military reported drone attacks this morning. A cargo ship caught fire off Qatar's coast this morning after being struck by an unknown projectile. An Iranian military commander issued a warning this morning that any country enforcing sanctions on Iran will, quote, face problems when their vessels pass through the Strait of Hormuz. That warning applies to every nation that has honored American blockade enforcement. Every ship, every flag. And the oil spill from Friday's disabled Iranian tankers is now spreading southwest. Analysts say it could reach the coastlines of the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia within 2 weeks. 3 countries that host American military bases receive Iranian drone fire and are currently hosting peace mediation efforts. They did not start this war. They cannot stop it. And an oil slick from a war they are not fighting may reach their beaches before any deal is signed. Here is where it gets more complicated. American intelligence published this week assesses that Mojtaba Khamenei, the supreme leader's son, the man who has not been seen publicly since the war began, the man whose condition American officials previously suggested may leave him severely incapacitated, is playing a critical role in shaping Iran's war strategy and is likely helping direct how Iran manages its nuclear negotiations. He is invisible. He is reportedly wounded. And according to American intelligence, he is the man deciding how Iran responds to the one-page American peace proposal. That is why every American official who predicted an imminent Iranian response has been wrong. The man who must authorize the deal has not been seen. And this raises the question we want you to think about. If the decision maker is invisible and potentially incapacitated, who is actually in the room when Iran decides yes or no? On that same Friday, the State Department sanctioned 4 firms, 3 of them Chinese, for providing satellite imagery that American officials say enabled Iranian strikes on U.S. forces. The Treasury Department designated 10 additional individuals and companies, several China-based, for helping Iran acquire materials for ballistic missiles and drones. Marco Rubio announced those China sanctions on Friday morning. On Tuesday, Donald Trump flies to Beijing. He will meet Chinese leadership at a summit on May 14th, where Iran is expected to be a central topic. Washington sanctioned Beijing's firms for enabling Iranian attacks on Friday and is now asking Beijing to pressure Iran toward a peace deal on Tuesday. These two things are the American strategy, running simultaneously on consecutive days. And Iran, in the middle of all of this, made a commitment that the House of Commons Library described in its briefing today as completely new. Iran agreed to never having nuclear material that could create a bomb. That framing, never ever, is the central objective Trump stated when this war began. It is what Vance called the key sticking point when he left Islamabad. It is the 99% in Trump's own words. Iran offered it. And Trump said he was not thrilled with the talks. The commitment that could theoretically end the war produced a not thrilled response from the president who launched the war to obtain it. That gap between what Iran offered and what Trump called not thrilling may be the most important unanswered question of this entire conflict. Prediction market traders, putting real money on the outcome, currently place the probability of no nuclear deal by June 30th at 66.5%. 2 out of 3 traders say no deal. 1 out of 3 says yes. Today is May 10th. The Beijing summit is May 14th. The Hajj begins May 25th. The June 30th deadline is 51 days away. The ceasefire is 32 days old. The cargo ship off Qatar is burning. The oil slick is spreading. The invisible man is directing the negotiations. Iran made its completely new commitment. Trump was not thrilled. And Rubio reported positive momentum from Miami last night. Both of those last 2 sentences are true. At the same time. Today. We update this analysis every day as new developments break. 3 questions are open right now, and we want your answer in the comments. First, American jets hit Iranian tankers the same night Rubio was waiting for Iran's peace response. Iran's foreign minister says a spoiler is deliberately wrecking diplomacy every time it advances. Is that spoiler the Israeli operational timeline? Or is it the American military acting independently of the diplomatic team? Second, if the prediction market resolves no deal on July 1st, and the ceasefire that is holding has produced a burning cargo ship, disabled Iranian tankers, Kuwait drones, and an oil slick approaching 3 Gulf coastlines, what does the post-June 30th military environment look like? Third, Iran's invisible decision-maker has already offered the central commitment this war was launched to obtain, and the American president said he was not thrilled. What specific additional concession can an invisible, reportedly incapacitated supreme leader offer that would change that answer? Drop your position below. The most detailed analysis posted in the next 24 hours gets featured. Every comment is read. If this breakdown gave you something the mainstream coverage didn't, consider subscribing. We're here every day when the situation moves.